Hey gang, we're going to explore some ground movement today. So, going to keep it basic. Something like this move here. Back just a bit. Sitting on the heel. Stretching out that big toe, so important. Opening up the hips. This is not for everyone, this move. If your knees are funky, you might feel a little funky. I like to think of anywhere I own a position is where I can take a diaphragmatic breath and not be constricted. So and I'm just gonna move up, tuck it, move down. Same type of thing. This fancy new phone is fancy. So moving here again, top of the ankle, big toe, my whole foot ankle complex, into the knee, hip, and then I can move into this side, this foot. Again, with this big toe as well. Again, can I take a breath? Shoulders low and wide, pretty much relaxed but engaged. Move right into 90-90. Side bent sit. Plant my hands, undo it. Beautiful windy day here in Florida. I can do the same move without hands. And if your hips are tight, you can walk your legs forward a bit. Right back to that breathing. Or I can plant the hands and actually get some engagement, open up the front part of my shoulders. So as I do this, I actually open up that anterior capsule of the shoulder on purpose. It's just staying on one side. Could come to this position, slide over a bit so then you can see how that is on the other side. Or if I need to, my hand can plant. View. Cool too. I can add movement with any of these positions based on what I'm feeling or what I'm looking for. Again, I can add my hands as well. Keep my hands close to my hips, elevate my hips. Add some elevation here. Control. Hands back to the hips up a little bit, moving into a nice rocking inverted rock position. I'm just playing a little bit here, getting rid of a hand, getting rid of a contact point, getting rid of a foot, getting rid of a foot and a hand, and clearly I can breathe okay because I'm talking to you. I'm not labored here. And if I were, I could change my position, or I could just simply come down and do the same thing, not elevated. I could take little breaks. Inverted rock. Circular movement here. Back to where sit and recover. 80, 90. Middle. Such a cool view in the back between his van, and then the clouds are super cool right now. Control. Okay. So I kind of started with some of this positioning here. Can play around with some more kneeling. So on the top of my feet here. So my toes are flat in plantar flexion versus this position. Start here. And you're going to get some feels in the ankles, top of the feet, all the way up probably into the shins, maybe in your hips. And then I can get up onto those toes, do the same thing. Big toes, my left knee. Definitely can feel that. So I'm going to move that in a little bit and explore how that feels. Moving from here down and up, I can add a little bit of yoga influence. Down with control. Tuck the feet all the way down. Come up. Tuck. Hinge, tuck, down. Deep squat. Toes are out a bunch. Can add a little more range of motion. If I'm too narrow with this, it's going to be more challenging than if I am wider, like that. No, for me. Maybe not for you. Another thing here, sometimes knees will talk to you in this position. This is great for decompression of the spine. Sometimes it can be hard on people's knees. You could play around with your foot positioning. So I could move my feet facing forward a little bit, or try toeing them out and see how that affects things. And then for balance, I want my armpits kind of beyond my knees. That's gonna allow me to have the most balance. Whereas if they're back here, I can still do it. But sometimes if they're back here too much, you can lose your balance. So beyond elbow pits, armpits, beyond the knees. Again, can I take a breath? In this position too, I love to play with ranges of motion. My neck and head, so I can do a head nod. Basically dropping my neck and head. Inhaling, opening up. And I can do shoulder, over the shoulder, blind spot checks. And then I can add things like reaches or openers here. Can do some joint articulations, etc., etc. Kind of playing around with this. I set a timer earlier in my session and just went for 5 minutes or so in this. Something to play with, but be mindful of your knees and your hips and other body parts that might need attention if you haven't done this for a while. A nice little way to get around the mobility of this, if your ankles are tight, which is usually the case, is I can roll up a mat, put it underneath my heels, and then get the required elevation to do this move. Another way to do this would be on a hill, facing downhill. So that'll give you, kind of force you into a little bit of dorsiflexion to get the required range of movement. This position here, I try to make this kind of a default position when I'm sitting on the ground, and I do try to sit on the ground a lot. So what do I have to do if I sit on the ground? Is I have to get up off of the ground a lot without it being a big deal. So, just wanted to share a little motion love here on a windy, somewhat cloudy Florida day, and just encourage you to explore ground movements. I'll have more for you soon. Peace and love.